first installment of Gearing Up with SBRE Brown, we're going to be looking at this. This is a simple knife. It's always in my bag. It's for emergency purposes. This will get you out of a car if you got a problem. And we're going to check what this is all about. Alright, today we're going to be talking about a knife that I picked up in Germany and that I have to say I'm quite a bit of a fan of. It's made by Walther, the German brand, and I think it's a pretty cool knife. It came with this sheath, very simple, and what I love about the sheath is that it allows horizontal and vertical carrying. So you can loop your belt through like this, and then, let me zoom out a bit there, then you'll carry it on your belt like this, but there are two loops here, which you can also stick your belt through like this, and then you carry it in a horizontal manner parallel to your belt. What I like about that is that it will not stick into your sides when you move your torso from left to right, which is actually a fairly pleasant thing. Okay, simple sheath. I believe it's nylon. It's nothing too fancy, but it does feel fairly padded, which is good. It will protect your knife. Has a pretty strong popper on there. Let's pop this baby open and see what we got. The Walther Security. I'm just going to say Walther instead of Walther. Here you go. It's a fairly large folding knife. I'll give you a comparison with my Buck 112 Ranger. Not exactly a small knife itself, but as you can see, this Walther knife really is pretty big. Should you wonder, this fob, well, I made that myself. That's just 550 paracord, but this is glow in the dark. So when you charge up these things, you see the little flickering things in there. They're charged up by daylight, and if you put them in the dark, they will actually glow. Not super brightly, but they will glow. So if you drop your knife, you can still find it. Now, what's beautiful about this is that you see these white points. They're glow in the dark too, and they're on both sides. So if you drop this knife, you've used it during the day, you drop it at night, you will be able to find it back because it does glow in the dark. Okay, what else have we got on there? Well, as you can see here, there's a clip, and you have two little torque screws there, so if you don't like the clip, you can just undo them and remove the clip entirely. Here you have a glass breaker. The knife is called Security. This is supposed to, you can keep this in your car, and get out in an emergency. This is an aggressive glass breaker. It's sharp. It stabs into my skin, so to speak. So definitely a tough one to use. And you can easily wrap your hand around it, put your thumb on there, and just bash in glass. I can see that working because it's a very pleasant knife. It's not super. Let me see. It comes in about 150 grams, which is not super heavy, but it's definitely not light. So it's a big, robust knife. So we have that. Then on this side, you have a seat belt cutter. So if you're in a pinch, you can always grab it and cut off your seat belts in a car. And of course, you have the loop here to put a fob on, as I did here. Of course, what you're really interested in is the knife. Let me just say it feels slightly rubberized, these scales, very pleasant to hold. I find this nice. If you have smaller hands, this is probably not the knife for you because it's big and it's pretty thick and bulky. But, you know, my hands are not the smallest in the world, so for me it's not really an issue. As to the knife, of course I try to open it in a flashy one-handed manner, which I always can do. But yeah, there we go. On camera it was a bit more difficult. You've got a fairly big blade, which I would say looks fairly aggressively. It is very sharp, very pleasant to use. Let me just grab a little bit of paracord to give you an idea of how sharp it is. That was fairly effortless. I didn't really have to exert any pressure. And then you have these highly aggressive serrated edges, which are really, they stick out quite a bit. If you have cord and you don't get a lot of grip with your fine edge, you can always use the serrated edge, which in this case I don't really have a lot of leverage on the cord, like this. Hold it a bit higher, but you will cut through it like that. But as I said, with this knife, the fine edge is definitely going to take you a long way. So big blade, 440 SS steel. It's pleasant to use. It's big, but I don't find it too big. And you've got this nice little disc there to assist you in one-handed opening if you find that difficult, but as I said, you can do it with just a flicking motion with a bit of exercise. The blade locks, liner locks, so it won't accidentally snap shut on your fingers, which would result in some serious injury. A nice bit for your thumb here. This is spared out for your fingers, works very well. What I do feel is that clip. It does stick into my skin a little bit, but not terribly so. And this has some nice texture to it to put your thumb on there, which makes for a very nice, pleasant cutting knife. So that's the Walther Security. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.